and its control has to be reviewed. That's what my take on that. Then media, 4 jobs in disaster. Point out where the disaster is, guide the people. I'll come to that why I mentioned this. And then objective criticism, and they should not encourage the self-projection. Everybody wants to be projected that, look, these things are being distributed and that is they have to take care of. That's what I feel. To counter the credibility deficit, we need to have transparency and robust audit and account systems. And for the sponsors and donors, just to conclude, sir, ladies and gentlemen, there are 4 people who can respond immediately to disaster. One is the administration, which is there. Then is the army predominantly, followed by Navy and Air Force, because they have the wherewithal. Since I am a serving military officer, I represent them also, they have the wherewithal, they have the command structure, they have the communication. So they can get mobilized as soon as possible. And then are the media reps. Whole of Pakistan is covered by media reps, where to guide the relief efforts. And finally, the NGOs. And I really salute the United Nations people. I've seen them working. Particularly, I am witness to the reps of World Food Program and UN Habitat. The way I found them so distressed, so concerned, and so mobilized, and so charged up to mitigate the sufferings of the people. All of us here, if we can just question ourselves and carry self-actualization, whether whatever we are doing is for self-interest or interest of the affected people, whether we are doing it for self-glorification or to mitigate the sufferings of the affected people. Thank you very much.
Okay. Okay, that's an excellent statement and summary from Vice Chairman Ira, and we will also have some time for question and answers. Let me ask Tom, who has really been on the ground, head of International Organization for Migration. The emergency, the disaster has been handled well, do you think? Is the fear of a protracted emergency accurate or not, Tom?
Thank you very much for this opportunity. It is my privilege. It's terrible being down the order because you feel like they've already given your speech. I would like to say, let Pakistan's response be measured in context, and you will come at the very high up in the grade. It has been an amazing response. Let me start at the very beginning. If you look at the number of people who were impacted and the number of lost lives, it has to go down not in the response, let's say, by the international community or the government of Pakistan. We have to give it to the people themselves, because for the first 3 or 4 or 5 days, they were on their own, and they managed. So the initial response has to go to the strength and the resiliency of the Pakistani people themselves. The other question you asked...
the protracted emergency conditions.
Okay. The protracted emergency, I'm going to just pick up a few things I was going to say. One thing we have learned is that the situation before the flood wasn't as good as we thought. So what we, as let's say the humanitarian people on the ground, are saying, returning people back to where they were pre-flood is not acceptable. It was a slow, quiet emergency, whether we realized it or not. Take the nutritional levels, take the educational levels. So where we are now is in a situation where, yes, the rehabilitation has not happened, but we also have to see that our interventions have to supersede and to